think the 33 of Evan C, he just split gap and picked up 2 more cars, and he's going to work on the 35 and the 51 now. They're 4 wide off of 2 on a little quarter miler, and they're going to make it work in towards 3 and 4.
This is why these are the best drivers on iRacing service right there. It is so hard to go 4 wide at this little bull ring in these big stock cars, man. That was an incredible job of driving right there by those guys back in the mid-pack, but the battle still wages on up front. Alex Bergeron is absolutely pushing around the 44 car Blake Cannon. While those guys are going 4 wide back there, Bergeron tried to make a slider work on Cannon. They nearly got together, but they continued on. They all run the top of the racetrack. Here comes Cardwell down on the inside, pulls up next to Bergeron right there, and nearly gets by him down the front straightaway.
Can't quite get the run off, though, so it seems like, at least at the moment, in the top, yep, you're right, we get a yellow. I think it's for a quick spin. I don't see any major incidents out there on the racetrack, and I don't see any cars missing from that racing surface as well. Looks like it was a 39 maybe involved with this. The 2 of Dylan Hauser actually was, I think, the initializer. He was the car I see get spun around initially, and he got kind of loose, I think, coming off of turn 4, maybe a little bit of contact. He kind of slid up into the 999, and then the 999 got him into him again as Dylan was trying to reset. And honestly, the way things were fighting like that, Chase, not really a surprise to see someone get a nice little half spin, but no major contact overall, and everyone has relatively clean race cars, and where he should maybe get everyone calmed down a little bit, and everyone's strung out now.
Yeah, that was a good little run there. I think that was about a 10-lap run for these guys to try to feel out their cars, see what they got here for the rest of these 40 laps. I'm telling you right now, if I was the crew chief on that 72 car of Hayden Cardwell, I would be telling my driver right now, you are running better lap times if you run the top in 1 and 2 and the bottom in 3 and 4. We saw Cardwell pull up next to Bergeron there a couple times there when he ran the bottom in 3 and 4. He's just got to hope for one of those guys at the top 2 to make a mistake, and he might be able to drive by him on the bottom of the racetrack here. Looks like we're about to go back green here momentarily there, Randy.
Yep, lights are already out. Really quick restart here in this championship. Hayden Cardwell, he tried at the initial start, and, well, the 44 Blake Cannon holds him up. He's going to have a nice clean start. And they're getting nearly 3 wide per second in last week's winner of Hayden Cardwell. He gets spun at the head of the field, and somehow we stay green as they're all jumbled up in the mid-pack, and Hayden Cardwell gets shuffled down to about 15th.
Here comes Alex Bergeron down to the inside for the race lead to the inside of Blake Cannon, slides up the racetrack, nearly gets by him right there. Cannon drives back around him. Now Bergeron is in a Swindell speed lap sandwich. He's got the leader of Cannon right in front of him and the 00 of Kendall Tucker, his teammate, just behind him in the 3rd spot. It's a Swindell speed lap, almost top 3 as Bergeron breaks up that battle right now in the 2nd spot.
Bergeron trying to pressure that 44 car, and, well, if you're hoping for Alex to make a mistake, it's not going to be likely. We saw him run the top comfortably all year long in the sprint cars. He just really was ripping the wall. I don't think we're going to see that 12 car pick up out there. The 51 of Matt McKinney, though, he's trying to chase down that 00 of Kendall Tucker that is his teammate, and what a night it would be for those guys, Chase, if they could somehow get all 3 of those guys onto the podium. But Alex right now is kind of killing that vibe for him.
Yeah, and don't look too far ahead right now, Randy. Lap traffic lies ahead for your leaders. They're about almost on the same straightaway as the last place car, Blake Brown, right now. If we stay green the rest of this race, I'm telling you right now, you will not see anything crazier than these fast guys getting into the back of this field here, trying to go as hard as they can for this win here tonight.
12 tries running the tires once again. Does Alex Bergeron down low. Can't quite keep the momentum up. And Blake Cannon will hold on to that race lead at the moment. Kendall Tucker and Matt McKinney starting to lose a little bit of ground as Evan C. and Nick Cooper, they're fighting in the 35 car. A little bit of a half spin off turn 4. And Nick Cooper in the 35 TTL Esports car. He's going to lose nearly a dozen spots as the 999 and Dylan Fox is on the wall on his right-hand side. But Dylan gets it caught up, and we're going to keep this thing green.
And Randy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the 127 of Blake Majulis was in the B main. He runs 5th right now in the 127.
You are correct. He started this race in 17th. He was in one of those last chance qualifiers, and we're still in the first half of this race, and the 127 finds himself running comfortably inside of the top 5, now trying to chase down the 51 of Matt McKinney, and I think mostly get away from this mid-pack. Your leaders starting to spread themselves out. Blake Cannon with a 3/10 of the second lead over Alex Bergeron. Then it's a second back to Kendall Tucker, another about a second back to Matt McKinney, and about a second and a half to Blake Matulis. After that, the whole field still stacked up on top of one another as Cannon still closes in on that lap traffic. They're now in the same corner.
Yeah, we're not even halfway through this thing yet, Randy, and we've got lap traffic just about maybe 5 laps away. Will these guys give way, though? I mean, they don't have to. If they're racing for position, they do not have to get out of the way of the leaders, but if they want to play nice and they want to make some friends in this series, they might get out of the way, but I doubt it. Right now, Alex Bergeron. Oh, and there's the caution. Caution's out. Looks like the 23 car, Jeremy Capron.
That's a bit of a disaster there for the 23. We'll see what exactly happened to this 23 car. Looks like he gets sent around, and you know what? It really wasn't any fault of his doing there on that one. There was right ahead of them. I think this was the 35 and the 26. Nick Cooper and Drew Hirschko. They were fighting, and they got into each other as they went up into turn 3 and 4. Actually, it was it was the 2 of Dylan Hauser. Sorry, Drew. It was the 2 of Dylan Hauser. Just got into the wall all by himself. Nick Cooper trying to avoid had to get all out of the throttle, and well, that left the 23 car really nowhere to go and ends up just spinning himself around. So 2 cautions here tonight, chasing both of them just light contacts, and we're going to see all 20 cars still out there running on the lead lap.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, a big sigh of relief. I think I heard it from up here in the announcer's booth from that 44 car, Blake Cannon. He will get away from those lap cars and he'll have a lot of clean track to work with when we go back green. So a big, positive thing there for your leader to not have to worry about the lap cars. But I'm telling you right now, he does not have this thing in the back. Alex Bergeron's been pushing him around this entire race. I'm just waiting for the guy to make the move down to the inside and throw a big slider on him. I don't think he's going to make it early. The pace truck pulls off. We've still got about 23 laps to go in this one as we go back green.
We saw Nick Cooper win one of these races at Lima Land on a restart last year. Can Alex maybe make it work? He gets up into the 44, and Blake Cannon gets intimidated. The 12 of Alex Bergeron fighting for the race lead. Makes Blake Cannon. Blake in the 12 car. He'll have it off the 4, but the 44, he'll take it back in towards 1 and 2. Alex looks back down to the bottom, and Blake Cannon into the wall on the outside of turns number 1 and 2. Back to the slide job for the 12 of Alex Bergeron. He's trying to pick up this race lead, but he just can't keep the speed up on the bottom, and here comes Matt McKinney as well.
A big slider right from the 12 of Bergeron. He ran over the infield tires, and Cannon right back down to the inside. A great battle going on at the front of this field. Cannon tries to clear him. They're not clear. Contact down the front straightaway. The 44 with the slider once again. He's back out front now. The 12 back down to the inside. The 2 cars behind him are right there with him as well. They're 2 by 2 for the top 4.
4 cars all scrapping for your race lead. Alex has it at the moment, but Blake Cannon once again throws the cut back and he gets it, and I think he's going to be comfortably in the race lead. Alex doesn't get a great run off of turn 4, so those 2 are going to somewhat settle themselves out, and McKinney and Kendall Tucker, they need to continue fighting for third. The 00 of Tucker still down there on the bottom, and the 51 of McKinney up top. Little contact between the 2 teammates, and oh, by the way, here comes the Swindell Speed Labs esports car of Blake Matulos. He now runs 5th, so it's Alex Bergeron and 4 Swindell Speed Labs cars inside of your top 5.
And we know that Alex Bergeron will not be intimidated by that with all the success he had in the Sprint Car Series. We know that he's not even thinking about that right now. He's surrounded by a bunch of teammates. He does not even care. He pulls up back to the back bumper of Blake Cannon. Does he look for the slider? No, he does not. He rides behind him. Still 15 laps to go in this one. And lap traffic looms ahead once again. These guys are getting there quickly again. If we stay green, they're going to get there by the end of this race. And Bergeron continues to pressure the 44 Cannon. Just waiting for, he's biding his time right now, just waiting to make his move.
And look who it is who's going to be the first lap car they get to, last week's winner, and of course current points leader, the 72 of Hayden Cardwell at the back of the field running last, still on the lead lap, but after his little half spin and getting shuffled back into the field, not been the great second round that he was hoping for. But the 12 of Bergeron still pressuring the 44 of Blake Cannon as they work through 3 and 4 as we approach 10 laps to go.
Yeah, now the scenarios start to run through your head if you're Blake Cannon or Alex Bergeron. Cannon knows that the slider's going to come by the end of this thing. He just wants to be on the right end of it when they come off turn 4. If you are leading, entering turn 3, and you get slid by the guy in second, you want to be that guy that gets the putback on him. You want to be the guy that crosses the start-finish line first. And so Cannon right now, I think, has the advantage, unless Bergeron can slide up in front of him just perfect enough to where Cannon can't get crossed back underneath him. Here comes Bergeron down to the inside. 1 and 2 will try it with 10 laps to go. He clears it. Cannon back down to the inside. Here we go again, Randy.
Blake Cannon still holds on to that race lead, but Alex had it for a moment through 1 and 2. Alex just sizing up that 44 car, seeing how things are going to pan out, and maybe Chase just trying different lines. Oh, and lap traffic is coming. The 44 of Blake Cannon all out of the throttle through the center of 1 and 2. Alex has the lead for the moment. Slide job from the 44 of Blake Cannon, the 12 of Bergeron. He's going to take it right back in towards 1 and 2. Can Blake Cannon slide up in front of Alex Bergeron? Yes, Alex makes a mistake up top, and Blake Cannon muscles his way back to the lead.
These guys are going tooth and nail for this thing. It's not over yet. Coming down to 7 laps to go, and Bergeron's still right there with him. Cannon kind of roughed him up a little bit right there and got into the side of him, got the lead back, and here comes the 00 of Kendall Tucker now. A 3-car battle for lead as they work off the cushion of turn number 4. Just 6 laps to go at Lima.
Kendall Tucker is there, and Blake Matulos from the B main. He's not very far off the back of this fight either. We're back to 4 cars racing for this race lead. They single file it out. 6 laps to go this time. Off of turn number 4, Alex loose off of 4. He's going to try it over the tires on the inside. Alex maybe a little bit too hard. He'll tag the wall off of turn 2. He'll side them right back up in towards turn 3. Right up the racetrack he goes. Won't even get by the 44, but he's trying to get there in these closing laps.
Yeah, that might have been the nail in the coffin there, unless Bergeron can get back on his high horse right here and get back up to that 44 car. He might have went a little bit too early to make the move. He gets back up on the top of the racetrack, starts to close in just a little bit more. Lap traffic looms ahead. Just 4 laps to go. I don't think they'll get to the back of the lap cars. It's going to be between your top 2. Blake Cannon, Alex Bergeron, 3rd place. Kendall Tucker's now a half straightaway behind. They'll come down this time. 2 laps to go, and Bergeron's in the back pocket of the 44. Here he comes. Here comes the slider for the race lead. Bergeron up across the racetrack, Cannon right back down to the inside. They'll come by this time. 2 laps to go across the line.
2 laps remaining in this race here at Limaland, and they are just covered by a blanket on the 44 and the 12. They haven't hit the lap traffic yet, but it is close. Through 1 and 2. As Wilmot just about into the wall is that 44 car of Blake Cannon. Alex not able to size up a move just yet. He'll have about 1 lap, 1 more attempt. Blake Matulos in the background. He takes 3rd, but Kendall Tucker takes him back. Through 1 and 2, Alex gets into the wall, and that's going to put the nail in the coffin of the 44 of Blake Cannon. He ran runner-up last week at Volusia. He will win the 2nd round here at Limaland.
Wow, that was one of the best sim races I've ever seen in my life there, Randy. What a great job by the 44 Blake Cannon.
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Race fans, you wanted the best? You've got them. Live on DirtVision.com. Presented by Dry Deal. The World of Outlaws, NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. The World of Outlaws, Morton Buildings Late Models. Knoxville Raceway and the Knoxville Nationals. And the Dirt Cars Summer Nationals are all available live. Sprint Car and Late Model Fast Passes are available now for just $39 a month, with single event subscriptions available as well. From Volusia to Charlotte, Fairbury to Lernerville, Eldora to Macon, and everywhere in between. Dirt Vision has you covered all season long. Every race, live, anywhere, anytime. Don't be left in the dust. Sign up for Dirt Vision today.
After an amazing round at Limaland, the 2019 World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model iRacing Championship Series moves to Knoxville, Iowa for what is going to be a fantastic race here at the home, I would say, of sprint car racing in all the United States, and of course the sprint car capital of the world. But of course we're putting the fenders on them here tonight at Knoxville, and Chase, I think we're going to be in for a good one. Knoxville seems to provide awesome racing no matter what kind of cars you start flinging around it.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of guys down in the pit area here tonight, and it sounds like they're pretty confident we'll have a good two-groove racetrack here tonight. This place seems like on iRacing.com gets pretty wide, get up next to the wall, gets like a pretty good curve up there next to the wall, and you get a nice narrow bottom down there to try and hit with those left side tires, try and keep it down in the moisture. So these guys are going to be tested or put to their limits here tonight at Knoxville, and it's going to be exciting to watch.
And of course, the unique thing about running around both sides of the racetrack here, both the top and the bottom, is, of course, up top you'll have the cushion to deal with, but that berm on the inside lane that you have to deal with, Chase, you can really kind of set that left front tire up on top of it and really throw a lot of weight onto that right rear, kind of almost use it as a mid-corner adjustment in some ways. The drivers, I think, who can run that berm successfully and feel comfortable putting those tires up onto it, I think they'll be the ones who are really, really quick running along the inside.
Yeah, I think what we're going to really see here tonight is the heat races and possibly the semis. We're going to see a lot of guys down on that bottom inside berm, and once the feature rolls around, we'll have a two group. We'll get the guys up on the top of the racetrack. And like you said, man, that inside berm is definitely hard to run. It's really hard to see here. When you're going down the straightaway, it's hard to judge where that inside berm is at. And you can kind of, drive in a little bit too early, turn in too early, run over the inside berm a little bit too much, more than you want to, and it can really screw up your corner exit. So these guys have to be careful, man. It's going to be a good night of action. Here's the event format. You can see 4 heat races, 8 lap each. Top 4 drivers from each one will go straight to the main event, and the rest of them will go to one of two last chance qualifiers, and the top 2 in each of those will go straight to the main event for a 50 lap feature here tonight, Randy.
And let's take a quick peek at your point standings as well as we're getting into the closing moments of this practice session. It's the 44 Blake Cannon who leads the way in the points after what was an amazing opening couple of rounds, finishing second at the season opener at Volusia and then just holding off a 50-lap charge from the 12 of Alex Bergeron last week to take victory. He leads by 19 points over that driver of Alex Bergeron, Kendall Tucker third, Blake Matulis in fourth, and Evan C. round out your top 5 in the points. But really the big loser coming out of that second round at Lima Land Chase has got to be Hayden Cardwell in that 72. Won that opening week of racing, dominated that opening week of racing, and just flat out had a horrible main event last week and basically just saw himself fall all the way to 6th in points. So he goes from being your points leader to 33 points off in 6th place.
Yeah, Cardwell, I think in the first couple of laps last week at Limelight was running inside the top 5, got into it with another driver, got spun around, and ended up finishing 19th, which, like you said, dropped him back to 6th place. Another guy that was a surprise last week is Zach Leon Hardy, last year's champion with this series, didn't even make the main event, and he's not even, I don't even think he's in the top 15 in points right now. So a big shakeup, some crazy things happened last week at the Bull Ring at Limeland Motorsports Park, but here's the rest of the schedule. Next week we head to Eldora, and that's going to be a good one as well, Randy.
Yep, 2 big of these half-mile speedways back-to-back, and we have a very, very quick revisit to Volusia on the week of July 22nd. But before we get to that, we, of course, got to do this one, and the track is now open for hot laps as drivers are taken to that racetrack to put in their qualifying times. 2 hot laps allotted for each driver to get run here. I say Brian Wayant Jr. on the racetrack, Justin Thompson out there as well. I don't see too many people out there at the moment who are quick in the practice. Nick Cooper is rolling off. He was actually 6th quick in the practice. Look to see what maybe he can do. But for the most part, none of your fast guys rolling out for qualifying just yet.
Yeah, let's go over those practice times real quick. The top 5 was Evan C., Kendall Tucker. That's iRacing's most eligible bachelor right there in the 00 car. The 999 of Dylan Fox was 3rd, Hayden Cardwell 4th, and then Tyler Ducharme was the top 5 there in practices. Like you said, qualifying's on the racetrack, and Ducharme right now is the fastest of 4 drivers so far that have turned a lap.
Current quick time is an 18.877 held by that number 9 car, so still a few tenths of a second difference between what we saw in hot laps. Of course, the track state would have changed a bit since those hot laps. Of course, number of laps put in, about 35 cars out there running laps. Doesn't take much for this place to really get beat up. 14 of Casey Kerwin currently sits 2nd quick at an 18.898 and a 913 for the 88 of Brian Wayant Jr. as we basically just wait for the next handful of cars to roll off. Just been a handful of guys get out there. Currently in 4th is the 94 Phil Diaz, who we're taking a peek at as Jacob Fields on the racetrack as well.
Yeah, you mentioned it there, Randy, is, we get this many cars on the racetrack turning laps. And for those of you maybe watching for the first time here tonight and don't really know what iRacing is or what this dirt stuff's all about, is iRacing's done a great job with modeling the dirt here in this simulation. And you'll watch throughout the night as it'll get darker and it'll get slicker. The racetrack will move up and it'll take different grooves. And these guys, you can see them kind of throwing the mud up to the outside of the racetrack. And the track changes a ton throughout the night here. So keep your eye on the track conditions as the drivers will all night long.
Currently watching our defending series champion, Zach Leonardi. Terrible week last time out at Limeland. Didn't even make the feature. This time in qualifying, he's looking a little bit better. Goes to an 924 on that opening lap. That's going to put him up near the front of your field at the moment, but let's see what this second lap can go as that number 24 car works his way through off of turn number 4, currently 7th quick on that opening lap. Second time going to be a little bit quicker, go to an 8.31. That's not going to be quick enough for pole, but that's going to put him 4th quickest.
Yeah, Dylan Fox is now at the top of the speed charts right now at 18.739. Just to put that in perspective, they're running 18.7s in practice. They were down in the 18.0 range. That just goes to show you how much the track changes as now Kevin Dedman steps up to the second spot, 18.760. Then Randall Carter, 18.786. A lot of guys down there in the 18.7 bracket as now more drivers are starting to turn in their times. We've got looks like about 20 guys have turned time so far.
And Evan C hops up to quick time, the number 33. Dylan Fox up there in second as well. Dedman gets cycled back down to third. Still a handful of big swingers. What can the most eligible bachelor do in that 00 car of Kendall Tucker? He currently sits mid-pack at the end of his opening lap, comes down the back straightaway, starting lap number 2 and in towards 3 and 4. You're going to see him roll that middle of the racetrack, just put those front tires in the slick, and the 00 will come off turn 4. Will he improve on an 8.53? He will by a single thousandth of a second. And the 12 of Bergeron, he goes pole.
Wow, man, I don't know if anybody watched the race from last week that's watching here tonight, but that 12 car of Alex Bergeron was the show, along with the 44 Blake Cannon. And tonight he's done it once again, Randy. 18.698 is his fastest lap. We've still got some more drivers to put in some times here, but it looks like Alex Bergeron is going to be tough to beat here tonight. And he was tough to beat here in the sprint cars as well.
Yeah, he definitely was. Alex basically dominating that entire sprint car championship series. As see the 07 of Howard Weaver. I know someone who somewhat frustrated after the opening round. Good to see him having good pace. He's currently 7th quick, and well, that's going to see Weaver actually set himself up potentially for a good night as the clock is going to wind down. And Alex Bergeron, I think, is going to be more than pleased with putting in quick time here this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. And, with how this format works, with Alex Bergeron going quick time, he will start on the pole of the first heat race. And Evan C., Blake Majulis, and Dylan Fox, the top 4 guys, they will all start on the pole of one of 4 heat races. And the first one's about to roll into the racetrack here.
So as these guys start getting themselves gridded up for this first qualifying race, let's go down the 8-car field. It'll be Alex Bergeron and Kevin Dedman on that front row with Brandon Proudfoot and Blake Cannon on row number 2. Chris Beck and Chad Prescott on row 3 with Jeremy Caprone and Austin Selman rounding out the 8-car field for the opening heat race. And that 44 Blake Cannon, we talked about all the people that qualified well. That's your points leader coming in here, Chase, and he qualified just mid-pack in that number 44 car, not showing the pace we saw in those opening couple rounds.
Yeah, but I think that he's good enough when it comes to racing that he'll be just fine. He might not be literally a hot lap hero, as we like to call him, but he once the green flag runs or comes out, and he really turns the heat up, turns on the wick when there's other cars around him. I think he'll be just fine and grab one of these 4 transfer spots. I also want to mention, Randy, that we got a lot of guys here. Obviously, they have some lives outside of iRacing, and one of those guys on the outside of the front row, a good friend of mine, I met him back in North Carolina, Kevin Dedman. I mentioned this the first week. I'm not sure if everybody heard me or not, but Dedman is actually the lead singer of the band Dirty Grass Soul out of North Carolina. It's pretty incredible. He's on iRacing as well. He's done some concerts at the Millbridge Speedway out there in Salisbury, North Carolina. That's where I met him at. But Dedman, he's got some multiple talents at this field.
A lot of drivers having multiple talents, of course. Lead singer on the outside of that front row. Sprint car Hot Wheel as well on the inside of that front row. As see that 44 car of Blake Cannon. Just sort of swerving back and forth a little bit. Probably getting an idea of where they might want to run. And this is going to be their first test, Chase, of now they get out there after qualifying. How's this track going to feel side by side? And is there going to be a dominant lane, or can you run 2 lanes this early in the night?
Yeah, that's going to be the question right here. That's what these guys at the back of the field are really hoping for, that there is going to be 2 lanes here, because usually the first heat race, it's pretty tough to pass, and they're really hoping that there'll be 2 grooves coming here. Maybe there'll be some contact up here. That's what they're really hoping for, especially a guy like Austin Selman, who's back in the 8th spot. Remember, only the top 4 drivers transfer straight into the main event, so Selman's got to hope for some good luck here in these 8 laps.
Down the back straightaway, the 12 of Alex Bergeron, he will see the iRacing official pace truck come down on towards pit road, and he'll be the one in charge of when that green flag flies. So we'll see if Alex chooses to go early or goes late. He's going to get on a little on the early side. Green flag is out. Look at the 44 of Blake Cannon. He started in 4th, and he's already fighting for that 2nd spot. He gets down to the bottom of that 308 of Kevin Dedman through 1 and 2.
Yeah, wow, Blake Cannon did not waste any time. He needs to get up there in that second spot and challenge Bergeron for the race lead. Remember, if you win this opening heat race, you are automatically on the pole of tonight's 50-lap main event. And this is probably the most important race of the night as far as the preliminary races go. As look at Blake Cannon, he's working a lane off the bottom compared to Bergeron around the inside berm. He's trying it out, trying to see if there's some speed up there. He's right behind about a car length back on that 12th car.
Couple drivers in the mid-pack starting to go up towards that top side of the racetrack. I see the 18 of Austin Selman. He started deep in this field. He started 8th, and he's currently knocking on the door of a transfer spot. He's up to P4 and wants to chase down that 308 of Dedman to get up into 3rd. As out at the head of the field, Alex is starting to stretch a gap over the 44 of Blake Cannon. But that said, the fight is still on for that transfer spot as Selman runs the wall, and now he has the 22 of Brandon Proudfoot who wants to challenge him for that 4th position.
Yeah, I think Selman realized he made a mistake there as he goes back to the top and the 22 of Proudfoot slid up the racetrack right there and kind of forced the 18 up the racetrack. They're still side by side. Make it 3 wide now for the transfer spot. The 41 of Shad Prescott's going down the inside of Selman as well for that transfer spot.
Brandon Proudfoot falls back. He made a little bit of a mistake entering 3 a little hot, jumped the berm, and he slid right up the racetrack. They're 3 wide though at the tail end of the field between the 41, the 23, and the 22. A little bit of contact between the sequential numbers, the 22 and the 23, and they'll fall back even more. But Shad Prescott challenges that 18 of Austin Selman off of turn 4. 3 laps to go, this time into 1.
Selman nearly gets into the back of Kevin Dedman right there, hauling it into turn number 1. That's going to allow the 41 car Shad Prescott to run down the back straightaway. Can't make the move there. He goes back to the bottom in 3 and 4 here. Selman nearly gets into Dedman once again. They'll be side by side off turn 4 for the final transfer spot with just 2 laps to go in this one.
2 laps remaining, and Austin Selman is not one of these drivers who likes to feel he left anything on the table. So he may think that 18 car may play this heat race safe. If he sees an opening on Kevin Dedman, Austin is one who will send it as they roll through 3 and 4. White flag this time as they come down the home stretch. Alex Bergeron is comfortable. Everyone else knows the tail as they see the white and head in towards 1 and 2. Austin's going to roll the middle and slide it up to the top side. Shad Prescott, he's going to try to set up a bit of a move off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. Can that 41 car make some sort of slide and work into 3 and 4? He gets into Kevin Dedman, and he's just going to spin himself as Alex Bergeron will win that opening heat race. And Austin Selman, he's actually going to pick off Dedman for 3rd.
What a good race for 3rd right there, but a tough break there for Shad Prescott, man. He was not leaving anything on the table right there. He was going to probably slide up in front of Selman right there if he didn't get into the back of Kevin Dedman and turn himself around. Man, oh man, that was a good heat race right there. As you can see, there's already 2 groups of racing starting to form up there, Randy.
Yep, 2 grooves of racing starting to form up, and this is going to be a fun night, but probably not great for the voices as we work through the 8-car finishing grid there. Alex Bergeron, Blake Cannon, Austin Selman, and Kevin Dedman. Those 4 will go to the main event here tonight with Jeremy Caprone, Brandon Proudfoot, Shad Prescott, and Chris Beck rounding out that 8-car field. Second heat race forming up. Let's go down the starting grid for this one. It's going to be Evan C. on the inside of that front row with Dylan Hauser on the outside, Virgil Graham and Austin Carr on row number 2, Hayden Cardwell and Casey Kerwin on row 3, with Jacob Fields and Garrett Robinson in that fourth row, rounding out the 8-car field. And we talked about the fact, Chase, that these guys, they're always going to be aggressive getting in towards that main event. And I think someone actually coming out of that opening heat race is going to be really frustrated with that move that we saw in towards turn 3 is going to be Kevin Dedman, because yeah, he still gets to the main event, but that cost him 2 full rows of starting positions in that 308. Just that little bump that saw Austin Selman get promoted to 3rd. That's a lot of real estate to lose on that starting grid, as we've seen him in the past.
Yeah, I think that'll line Dedman up around 15th instead of probably, I'd say, around the 11th spot. So that definitely hurts. Each position is a huge gain in the main event starting lineup. So like you said, Dedman really on the short end of the stick there. He's going to have a little bit more work to do when it comes feature time. But here comes that second heat race. Hayden Cardwell's the guy we're watching here. He won the opening round of Volusia by a hefty margin. Last week had a terrible week. Got in a crash early in the race, finished 19th. He was the points leader after the first race. He's now 6th in the points. He's outside of a transfer spot here before we go green. So he's going to be trying to put some moves on these guys and put it straight in the main event.
We're also going to be eyeballing, we just clicked away from the onboard, the 14 of Casey Kerwin. Those two actually line up on the same row, so a couple of rows to really keep an eye on. Of course, Dylan Hauser also can provide some fireworks as well. Very, very aggressive driver, much like Austin Selman. He's not afraid to slot the car into an aggressive position if one opens up for itself. as the double 3 is going to work his way in towards 3 and 4. He'll wait for that iRacing safety truck to go off of pit road and let him be in charge of this field as we're getting ready to go racing once again. Green flag is out, and heat race number 2 is green.
And a good start for Hayden Cardwell. He's already side by side with the 1 car for that 4th spot. That's Austin Carr. Carr's way up the racetrack. He's now 3 wide for 5th with Casey Kerlon and the 007 of Jacob Fields. And Cardwell's already into a transfer spot there, Randy.
Cardwell doing good work to move his way slowly up this field. It's still 3 wide. Up the middle is that 14 of Casey Kerwin. I think he's going to be the beneficiary there as they work themselves in towards 1 and 2. He currently runs in the 5th spot, trying to hunt down a transfer spot as we take a look at how he's working his sim racing steering wheels in towards 3 and 4. The 42 tries to get up the inside of the 2 of Dylan Hauser. He will get by, or he still will stay clear, of the 72 of Hayden Cardwell. That's Virgil Graham running in the 3rd spot. Look at the 1 of Austin Carr trying to hold off this trio behind.
Here comes the 72 of Hayden Cardwell. A good run down the backstretch. He looks at the inside of Virgil Graham for the 3rd position. Now he's going to try and slide up. Nope, he'll run the bottom right here. Might be able to take over that 3rd spot from Virgil Graham. And now he sets his sights on the 2 car of Dylan Hauser. Cardwell's rolling right now in that 72 car.
Look at the 42 of Virgil Graham. He sends it up the inside. He gets up to 72 of Hayden Cardwell, and Hayden needs to be careful. This is what happened last time out at Lima Land, fighting for a transit spot in the heat race. Saw him get shuffled down to the last chance qualifier and get caught up in an issue there. Saw him basically unable to make the main event. And I think for a potential championship contending driver in that 72, Chase, he needs to race a little bit conservative here just to make sure he makes that main event as they swap positions once again through 1 and 2.
Yeah, they made some contact again right there through 1 and 2. The 72 and the 42 are definitely not playing nice right now. The 72 gets into the back off turn number 4, and here comes the 1 car of Austin Carr. He might be the beneficiary of these guys running into each other. As the 42 slides in front of the 72 once again, they're looking almost 3 wide down the backstretch for the 3rd spot.
Hayden Cardwell doing everything he can to wrestle this 3rd spot away as your top 2 drivers. The 33 of Evan C. and the 2 car of Dylan Hauser. They're trying to break away as the 42 of Virgil Graham. He's going to roll the top this time. 72 of Hayden Cardwell up against the inside line on the bottom. The 1 of Austin Carr will try to follow him through. White flag this time as they come off of turn 4, and this time they flip-flop. The 1 of Austin Carr to the bottom. Hayden Cardwell to the top side, going to try to get a run as these 3 are going to fight for these last 2 transfer spots. The 1 of Austin Carr through the little bit of a move up the inside. Hayden's at the wall on the outside, but he sets up a great run along the outside of the 42 of Virgil Graham. Now it's Virgil on the bubble spot in towards 3 and 4 for the final time. Evan and Dylan are clear, but what's going to happen for the transfer? Hayden Cardwell will get the run off, and he will take 3rd, and Graham will slot into that 4th and final transfer position with Carr, Robinson, Kerwin, and Jacob Fields rounding out the 8-car finishing order of that 2nd heat race. This is an exciting Knoxville here tonight.
And you can already see that there is a little bit of a curb developing right there, about a half a lane off the wall. You saw the 72 car, you can see him hit it, he'll get tight, he'll crank the wheel to the left, trying to keep the car sideways, and it's already developing. It's only going to get bigger and bigger by the end of this night of action. So the top is already there, and we're only on the 3rd heat race. So I'm definitely looking for some more exciting action coming up here by the end of this thing.
So as we take a peek at the finishing order from that last race we just had, look at the gaps that we had and how close people were. Top 3 all within a second and a half. That's sort of relatively close, but 3rd, 4th, and 5th, the difference between being in the main event, safe by 1 position, being on the bubble, and being out, only separated by 0.3 of a second. Those guys all close with Garrett Robinson, Casey Kerwin, and Jacob Fields. Those 3 will be rounding out the tail end of the field of this one. Let's take a look at heat race number 3 as they grid their way up. Blake Matulis and Howard Weaver will be on this front row with Blake Brown and Matt McKinney on row number 2. Tyler Schell and Drew Hirschko will roll off from that 3rd row with Adam Elby and Phil Diaz rounding out the 8-car field of this one. And these guys, I think, are in really a prime opportunity here, Chase, because if they've now seen 2 heat races go down, and they've seen a very racy Knoxville, I think if the opportunity presents itself, these guys are going to feel more than comfortable putting these race cars anywhere on this racetrack.
Yeah, that's the problem, though, is they don't really know which way to go. They know that each line is pretty good. They just don't really know which one's the best. And, these guys in the back, they're going to have some trouble here trying to make their way through the field. Looks like one driver actually missed the grid. Am I incorrect when I say that there, Randy?
I'm trying to see who that was. It was actually the third place starter, the 77 of Blake Brown. So that's actually going to promote Tyler Schell from outside of a transfer spot, starting in a transfer spot, all the way up to third. The way it works on the iRacing sim, whenever someone misses the start, it promotes the drivers in that line. So the couple drivers behind him will get promoted up a couple spots. Those on the outside will stay as they ran. So that's a bit of a disaster to be having a nice third place starting position for your heat, and to miss it, guaranteed now to basically run your LCQ. As Blake Matulis in the Swindell Speed Lab Esports, number 127, he's going to bring him to green. He actually holds him up as the the 07 and a couple others, they tried to jump it, weren't quite able to do so, and the 127 of Matulis able to get a huge lead as they're bumping and baming for second. That's 4 wide off of 2.
Wow, now they're wrecking into the wall. They hang on to it. Howard Weaver's involved, as well as the 51 car, Matt McKinney. Somehow they keep going, but my goodness, they were 4 wide off turn number 2, and the big beneficiary of that one was Adam Elby. He started back in 6th, and he's sliding for the second spot right now in 1 and 2.
Adam Elby's probably going to be wondering how he got up to the second spot, but he's going to take it regardless. As the 044 of Tyler Schell, he's going to work the inside of him in towards 3 and 4, and Adam, you're going to be like, all right, you can just sort of have this. I'll work it back underneath you. As we come down the back straightaway, the Swindell Speed Lab car, we saw Adam do great work in the sprint cars, finishing second. Or actually, no, I take that back. That was one of his teammates, but the 044 working really hard as they work down the back straightaway and in towards 3 and 4.
Now, you'd think these guys would like to play a little bit easier here. They're locked into a pretty solid main event starting spot. They keep doing what they're doing right now. They're going to give up some more ground. Phil Diaz in the number 94 car is closing in. He's on the back bumper of the final transfer spot of Drew Hirschko, and now they're looking for 3 wide. Phil Diaz is loving what he's seeing up in front of him right now.
Blake Matulos loving it as well, loving the breathing room he's getting as Tyler Schell. Maybe a little contact from Adam Elby entering turn 3, and he's going to work the cutback off of turn number 4. They work down the front straightaway. They'll be nose to nose across the line. Only about 0.02 of a second in it. That trip through across start finish as they cut back each other once again, and now the 26 of Hirschko is there.
Yeah, Hirschko might be able to get 2 for 1 right here and go from 4th up to 2nd and have himself a really good starting spot for the main event. 3 wide off turn number 4. Now for the second spot, Elby's going to clear him down the front stretch. Contact between him and the 044 of Tyler Schell. These guys, man, these last 2 heat races, we've seen a ton of contact there, Randy.
That we have. They were looking like they might be clear, but I'd say the feeling that the 74 got to his left rear said otherwise. The 26 of Hirschko has a decent run on the bottom. Let's see if he can set this up, as it'll be popsicle sticks in the air. This time through the iRacing starter stand, the 26 of Hirschko rolling that bottom line still, which is starting to slick off. Adam Elby gets loose up top, but is able to cut the nose off the 044 of Tyler Schell as his transfer spot fight continues. The 94, Phil Diaz, by the way, he's still there. He's the only one of these drivers not in a transfer position, and he is close off the back of the 26.
Yeah, the 94, he's got to make something happen here in these final 2 corners. They're still side by side for second. Schell to the inside. Now they get clear down the back straightaway. Don't worry about Blake Majulis. He is absolutely checked out up front. Here we come off turn number 4. Majulis will get the win. Second spot will go to the 74 of Elby, it looks like. Third to Tyler Schell. And 4th will go to Drew Hirschko. But a great drive by that 94 car. Phil Diaz from dead last. He'll end up 5th. And he'll start up front in a semi-main event here a little bit later on. But man, good race there going on for that second spot, man. These guys are going hard tonight, Randy. We saw it in the last heat race. We'll see it in this heat race. These guys are running into each other all over the place.
The 07 of Howard Weaver gave that 044 car a little bit of a shot post-race. Of course, in the sim world, that's not going to have no long-lasting implications based on the cars themselves. Those cars will be clean going into the feature, but I think a little bit of Howard's probably a little heated considering he started that in second and basically got sent before he ever got off of turn 2. As we take a look at your finishing results from that third heat race, and let's take a peek at the starting grid of heat race number 4 as they're going to start lining themselves up. It'll be the 999 of Dylan Fox on that front row with Randall Carter on the outside of him. It'll be Zach Leonardi, your defending series champion. He'll be on the inside of row 2 with Kendall Tucker, iRacing's most eligible bachelor, on the outside of that second row. Tyler Ducharme and Brian Wayant Jr. on row number 3 with Nick Cooper and Justin Thompson on row number 4. So an exciting another 4 grids, 4 rows of racing getting ready to get lined up here, Chase. The most amazing thing to me is that all season neither you or I have referred to that 98 of Justin Thomas, who of course Justin running in the sprint cars in the previous season. Very similar names to read quickly and try to yell over the microphone.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say something about that the first race, that we got Justin Thompson in the late models, we got Justin Thomas in the sprint cars. And that's another thing I want to say there, Randy. It's pretty cool. I think I mentioned this last week, but we've got a pretty good split. I think we've got 7 guys that ran both the sprint car and they qualified for this late model Pro Series as well. But it's good to see a good split of sprint car guys and late model guys in these championship series. I like to see that.
Yeah, it's one of the things that you have really in the real dirt world as well, isn't it? You have some guys that really specialize in their cars, be it wing sprint cars, non-wing sprint cars, be it late models, be it modifieds, whatever the case may be that they may run on dirt. Some guys can, basically just keep to whatever their specialty is. A number of people, though, can really run anything you kind of set them in, and we've seen those sorts of drivers kind of rise through the ranks and rise in notoriety over the years. But with that said, they got the 1-to-go signal, and they're working in towards 3 and 4, and it'll be Dylan Fox that'll be taking them to the green flag for the 4th and final heat race of the evening. And as soon as the iRacing safety truck is kind enough to peel on towards pit road, it'll be Dylan Fox who has the obligation here. He gets on it. We are green for the 4th and final heat race, and the 24 Leonardi, he wants second as the 999 has blitzed this field.
Yeah, great start there for the 24 Zach Leon Hardy. Last week did not make the feature event, and right now runs second after one corner. He started 4th. Now he's looking to the inside of Fox for the lead. Here comes the number 9 car, Ducharme, down to his inside now. We got a good battle, 3-car battle going on for second.
And we do 3 cars all fighting second, third, and 4th. Remember, those are all transfer spots right now as they run 3 different lines of racing through 1 and 2. That 37 a little bit lower off the top than the 24, but higher up than the 9. They're going to fan out nearly 4 wide as the 88 goes all the way to the inside line on the racetrack as they work off of turn 2. But Leonardi will lead this pack once again across the stripe.
I'm watching the 00 of Kendall Tucker right now. Tucker last week at Limeland was 4th in the main event, and right now he's running 6th right off the back. Oh, contact down the back straightaway. The 9 at Ducharme's in the wall. He hangs onto it, and Tucker goes by for 5th. My goodness, that was a close call. Somehow they all keep on going.
35 and Nick Cooper trying to slot up the inside there. The 00 not quite able to do so just yet. It's going to be the 88 of Brian Wayant Jr. who takes the transfer spot after that little contact with the 00 Kendall Tucker. He wants it back. The 37 and the 24. They're still fighting side by side ahead of these guys as Leonardi a little bit tight entering turn 3, but able to get a good run off. And we've seen that throughout these 4 heats, I think, Chase. Some guys who get a little bit tight on entry seem to just have so much traction on exit.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this thing. It looks like we're starting the race right now. We're 2 by 2, 2 rows deep. These guys are absolutely going at it. One of them is not going to make the show there. There's 4 cars on your screen. There's already 1 car way out ahead. We're only taking the top 4 of the main event. And there goes Kendall Tucker. He takes the spot away from Brian Wayant Jr.
They were nearly 4 wide coming off of turn 4 there as the 88 is now going to be on the outside looking in on the top 4 that transfer. And oh, by the way, you have the 35 of Nick Cooper, that slick Sim Sport number 35. He's trying to work his way up towards these drivers as well to challenge for a transfer spot. White flag this time, or excuse me, next time, as the 999 of Dylan Fox takes 2 to go through 1 and 2.
My goodness, they are going hard right now for the second spot. Kendall Tucker's trying to throw a slider on Zach Leon Hardy the last 2 corners in a row. Has come up a little bit short and almost made contact with him. iRacing's most eligible bachelor is absolutely going at it on the bottom of the racetrack. Here he comes down to the inside. The white flag's out. Can Tucker make the move? Down to the inside might be some contact right there. Nope. They keep off each other down the back straightaway. Your leader, Dylan Fox, with a huge lead to the top of the racetrack, tags the wall in 3 and 4, and he'll come off turn number 4, win the final heat race of the night. Second spot looks like it'll go to the 24 car of Zach Leon Hardy. 3rd to Kendall Tucker, and 4th go to Randall Carter.
What a run we've seen there. Top 4 all duking it out there for the duration of that heat race. As we'll take a peek at the final 4 finishers in that heat. Brian Wayant Jr. will see him in one of these LCQs with Nick Cooper, Justin Thompson, and Tyler Ducharme joining him. And that was really the most dominant heat race we've seen here, with Dylan Fox being out there so far clear of the field. But I don't think that's entirely just on Dylan's pace, and we've seen this in a couple of the heats, though, Chase, where that race-leading car was able to open up a gap. I just think it's just how hard everyone has been fighting. The leaders have been able to break away and get clear.
Yeah, starting on the inside of the first row is a huge advantage, man. Like you said, once they start battling, that 999 car was just able to check out. And like you can see there, it's 2-second win over the next place car of Zach Leon Hardy. And, man, like I said, huge advantage starting up on the front row. And we're going to see a little bit more of that, I'd say, here in the semi-main event, where we're only taking the top 2 drivers to the main event.
Yep, so top 2, slightly different, of course. If you weren't here for the event format action, we'll go down your starting grid first. It'll be Jeremy Caprona and Phil Diaz at the head of the field for this first LCQ. Brandon Proudfoot and Howard Weaver on row number 2. Shad Prescott and Matt McKinney on row 3 with Chris Beck and Blake Brown on that 4th and final row. So this is our first last chance qualifier. Of course, if you weren't tuning in, heat races, 8 laps long, we take the top 4. Last chance qualifiers, 12 laps long, we take the top 2. And there are 2 last chance qualifiers. They are separate and sort of parallel is really the best way to explain them. LCQ number 1 are for the final 2 spots on the inside row. Then LCQ number 2, the final 2 spots on the outside row. You win, you're on the upper row. If you're second, you're on the backfield for that the back of the field for the main event. So it'll be Jeremy Caprone, though, at the head of this field in that 23 car. And Phil Diaz, good heat race, gets him a solid starting spot for this LCQ.
Yeah, definitely, but he's got some tough company behind him with the 41 car of Shad Prescott, the 51 car of Matt McKinney. You know, Brandon Proudfoot was good in the heat race, just didn't really have any luck. And guy I'm going to be watching is the 77 of Blake Brown, who missed the start of his heat race. He was scheduled to start 3rd, but did not make the start. And now he starts way back in 6th here in the semi-main. So I think he's got a good car, as he showed us in practice, or in qualifying, I should say. And it's going to be interesting to see what he can do.
The 07 of Howard Weaver, you always talk about how important the mentality of racing at this level is. After his incident in the heat, he does not take the start, so Howard Weaver's night is done as these guys rolled through 3 and 4. Let's see, when does Jeremy Caprone pick up the throttle? He waits. Now he gets on it after getting a little bit of let's get going from the 22 behind. We are green for LCQ number 1, and we're 3 wide for second. The 51 McKinney, he's going to try to look outside, but doesn't quite get the run he gets. They stay 3 wide off of 2.
Yeah, now McKinney gets a little bit of a door from the 77 of Blake Brown, and McKinney falls back to the 6th spot. Here comes Proudfoot down to the inside of Caprone for the lead. Caprone's going to drive back around him on the outside. Good side-by-side battle. Here comes Shad Prescott. He gets by the 94 Phil Diaz. Now he's to the inside of Brandon Proudfoot. He's going to slide up the racetrack. Not going to be clear. Gets tagged by Proudfoot. He's sideways, hangs on and keeps on going to the 5th spot.
Great save there by the 41 car. Phil Diaz trying to hold on to the transfer spot that he started with, but he's got a big hitter in that 22 of Brown and Proudfoot knocking on the door on the outside. They are side by side as they work in towards 1 and 2, and Proudfoot just running right up against the wall. A little bit of contact with the wall with cars behind. They're going to jumble each other up, and your top 3 are going to get a breakaway because of it.
Yeah, yes, they are. It looks like the top 3, if they can keep this pace right now, they will be the last guys that we'll see here towards the final part of this race, battling for those final true transfer spots. Phil Diaz takes it away from Brandon Proudfoot at the start-finish line. Diaz in the 94 on the bottom of the racetrack takes over 2nd. Now he's going to try and have to hold off that 22 of Proudfoot, but don't look now. Blake Brown gets by the 51 of McKinney and the 41 of Shad Prescott. He's up to 4th.
Surprised to see McKinney hasn't moved his way further up through this field with the way they've been fighting, but can Blake Brown, the driver who missed his heat race, missed the call to get out onto the racetrack, can he somehow work his way into the feature event after starting in the back here as the still side-by-side for 2nd? And Jeremy Caprone, despite how hard they're fighting for 2nd and 3rd, has yet to be able to get away as Brandon Proudfoot, he tags the wall through 3 and 4.
Yeah, here comes the 77. He's going to close in a little bit more that time by. He ran a 19.1 compared to Proudfoot's 19.2. He's all over him now, about a car length behind him. He gets up on the cushion right there in 1 and 2. And down the backstretch, actually going to lose a little bit of ground, but those guys are still side by side in front of him. And the 77 of Brown, he's not by himself. McKinney's pushing him around the racetrack right now. Both those guys are hungry for a transfer spot.
I'm really impressed with this 94 car of Phil Diaz here, Chase. Of course, Phillip, he's one of those drivers that actually separates sort of his attention. He runs in the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing series, not really a dirt specialist compared to a lot of these guys, and he seems more than comfortable running right up against the inside, side by side with Brandon Proudfoot for now what has been the entire duration of this LCQ.
Yeah, absolutely. The 51 of McKinney slid in front of Blake Brown, and now he's up to 4th. Ken McKinney with 4 laps to go. Put some laps together here and get by these 2 cars in front of him of Phil Diaz and Brandon Proudfoot. Proudfoot's now back into the 2nd spot. Gets by the 94 of Phil Diaz. Your leader, Jeremy Caprone, has really not gotten away like you mentioned earlier, Randy. This win for the semi-main event is still up for grabs.
Oh, and Phil Diaz, he tries to throw a slider for 2nd, excuse me. He was nowhere near clear. That's going to back them up into the hand of the 51 of Matt McKinney. So Phil Diaz may have just kicked himself as he just throws the move going for 2nd. And now, not only does he have to fight for 2nd from 3rd, he needs to hold on to 3rd from 4th and 5th behind. That is going to light up Matt McKinney and Blake Brown. They're about to wake up and really send this in these last couple laps.
Yeah, 3 laps to go, or make it 2 laps to go, and Matt McKinney's now around the outside of Phil Diaz. He's got just 2 to go. Oh, he's into the wall big time, and that might be the nail in his coffin right there. McKinney now makes contact with Shad Prescott and falls way behind, and I'm sure a big sigh of relief just came out of that 22 car, Brandon Proudfoot, as they continue to door each other behind for the 4th spot.
Lap and a half to go here as he worked down the back straightaway, and that contact has really separated out the important battles, the 41, the 51. Oh, the 51 of McKinney slides the 94 Phil Diaz, but doesn't quite get clear. Maybe a little contact to 3 and 4, but that's going to maybe open the door for the 41 of Shad Prescott. But this is not for a transfer position, and it is the 23 and the 22 who have lined themselves up first and second as they work in towards 3 and 4. They hold on to the transfer positions. They run off of turn 4, and those two will see themselves go in towards the main event after the next LCQ here tonight.
Yeah, Shad Prescott will end up third, one spot shy of making the main event. The 94 Phil Diaz was in the 4th spot, and then Matt McKinney was 5th. So those guys will have to try again next week at Eldora. There's your rundown right there. Jeremy Caprone winning it over Brandon Proudfoot. Those guys had over a second on the rest of the field there.
So as we take a look at your finishing results from that first LCQ, let's take a peek at the starting grid of LCQ number 2. I don't think there's as many heavy hitters in this one, but still a handful of good cars who didn't get a early ticket to the main event. Austin Carr and Brian Wayne Jr., they will make up row number 1 with Garrett Robinson and Tyler Ducharme on row 2. Casey Kerwin and Justin Thompson will make up that 3rd row with the 007 of Jacob Fields and the 35 of Nick Cooper rounding the back of this field. I'm actually a little bit surprised with this LCQ number 2. You know, talking about sort of the names we see here, Chase, I'd say the 2 biggest ones and probably the 2 that jump out, probably Jacob Fields and Nick Cooper, maybe outside of Austin Carr, who starts at the front of the field. But those 2 certainly some of the bigger names, and they start from the back here in LCQ number 2.
Yeah, Nick Cooper comes into the night with a 12th place spot in the points, so he definitely wants to make this main event and have a good shot at running the top 10 in the standings later on this year. And another guy I want to point out is Brian Wayne Jr. I believe last week, Randy, he was the last car out of one of these semi-main events, and I think he ended up close to the top 5. So Wayne, don't count him out in that car number 88.
I think you're right about that. It was that AA car who came out of the LCQ and ended up comfortably inside of the top 10. I don't think he quite got a top 5 if memory serves, but that Reignition Esport car was definitely quick in the feature race last night. So we just saw a very exciting LCQ number 1 in this racetrack. It has not given up anything over the last handful of races we've seen on it. It has been racy from the start of the night, and we're about to bring in that main event. Just 12 more laps of racing before we can line up 20 of the best late model drivers on the iRacing service and let them loose to fight for a $300 win, $300 to win, second, $200 for second, and $100 for third. As these guys will work their way in towards 3 and 4, Austin Carr will be the one in charge of the field. He'll be bringing us to green as the iRacing safety truck gets on towards pit road. He waits. He's going to hold him up, and he gets on it a little bit late. Green flag is out, and they're already making contact. They're 3 wide for second, the 88. He's not going to be making the feature tonight.
Yeah, that was huge right there. Him and the 98 car of Justin Thompson, they're still crashing back there. They're going to be way out of this thing as your leader, Austin Carr, is already way ahead of the field. The 9 car of Tyler Ducharme has put himself up into the 2nd spot as he made it 3 wide down the front stretch there on the initial green flag, and that's what really caused that accident back there.
Yeah, that's really what caused it. I think Tyler Ducharme a little bit silly with that start, but the 14 of Casey Kerwin, he's going to roll the bottom and try to work to get his way into the first feature event for himself this evening. The 97 of Garrett Robinson, he tags well on the outside of those guys. Nick Cooper is going to have to drive around him, so that means for second and third, it's going to be all Kerwin and Ducharme, those 2 to really fight amongst themselves as this Austin Carr out at the head of the field.
I might have a little bias here, but I'd like to see Casey Kerwin make the feature right here. Look at that onboard camera right there. I want to see what he can do in the main event with that onboard camera. So he's got to get by Tyler Ducharme right here to make it into the feature. He's running 30, looks to the inside right there, gets into him a little bit right there, entering turn 1. That was a close call. Hangs on to it. Ducharme up the racetrack. Kerwin working down on the bottom side on the inside berm.
Tyler got made a little bit of contact with the outside wall through corners number 1 and 2, so look for Casey to maybe take advantage of that as the one of Austin Carr we saw in the last LCQ. The leader not able to break away. That has more than comfortably happened this time. Maybe slight contact between the 14 and the 9 this time through entering turns number 1 and 2, but it's going to be Ducharme who loses the spot here in Casey Kerwin. It is Clint Boyer, iRacing, and Pete Gannon-Fries. Super late model. He's going to work his way up into the transfer spot for now, but the 9's trying to fight back on the outside, but Kerwin's nearly clear.
Yeah, Kerwin nearly ran him out of room right there and put him on the outside wall. That last time by, though, the fastest car on the racetrack was the 35, and Nick Cooper is closing on both of those guys. Cooper, with still 6 laps to go, has a shot at this thing. If he can string another, half a race together here and track down these guys, they'll continue to battle, and he'll get a little bit closer and closer to him.
And the 97 and Garrett Robinson, he's trying to come with that number 35. Nick Cooper is next into the wall, but he's going to be able to hold on to it. Kind of bounces off the wall as nicely as he would have hoped as The 9 tried to really race tonight. The 14 gets into him. In towards 3 and 4. Tyler Ducharme, second time we've seen him be aggressive and make some contact in this LCQ. Tyler is really not afraid of sending it at the moment, but now he's got a teammate of Nick Cooper charging up behind him.
Yeah, Cooper now to the inside of Ducharme. Ducharme's going to clear him down the back straightaway. Only 4 laps to go now, and you can add that number 97 car, Garrett Robinson, in the mix. Now we got a 4-car battle. Now Robinson into the back of Cooper. They hang on to it, and Kerwan's able to get away just a little bit. He separates himself by about 2 car lengths as Ducharme drives it in deep into 1 and 2, gets up to the cushion. The battle is not over yet for the final transfer spot.
Fight is on down the back straightaway and in towards 3 and 4. That 9 of Ducharme, I think he might be a little bit quicker than Casey Kerwin, but does he have it where it counts? He's been so aggressive on the corner entry, but there's not been a door open for him just yet, and now he has a teammate and a non-teammate just lurking behind him as they work down the back straightaway, and the 14 of Casey Kerwin has some breathing room. 2 to go this time off of 4.
Yeah, I think Casey Kerwin, if he can keep that pace he's got right now and not make any mistakes, he's going to have this transfer spot in the bag. But right now, my goodness, a huge lead for the number 1 car of Austin Carr, almost 2 seconds ahead of the field. And like you said, Randy, we've seen that multiple times tonight. Once the leader gets out and these guys battle behind him, he's able to pull away big time.
White flag this time off of turn 4, and the teammates are going to go at it. The 35 and the 9. They know that a transfer spot's kind of hopeless, so they're going to bang doors as they work in towards 1 and 2. White flag this time as Casey Kerwin's going to run the bottom of the racetrack. Everyone behind him lined up on the top side and really fighting with one another as they get single filed out in towards 3 and 4 for the final time. The one of Austin Carr will win this LCQ, and Casey Kerwin will join him in the main event.
Yeah, Austin Carr with an incredible drive right there. Absolutely took those guys to school. Kerwan in second, Ducharme third. Nick Cooper ends up in the 4th spot. Then Garrett Robinson. That'll be your top 5 there. And the rest of those guys from second on back will have to, or excuse me, third on back, will have to try again next week at Eldora to make the feature event.
So it's going to be Tyler Ducharme, Nick Cooper, Garrett Robinson, Jacob Fields, Justin Thomas, and Brian Wayant Jr. Their nights will be done. Austin Carr and Casey Kerwin. We'll be seeing them in just a few moments for your main event. And do not go away. We are going to step aside for just a moment here on the iRacing Esports Network, take a quick break, and then we'll have your 50-lap main event coming at you in just a couple moments. Don't go away.
Race fans, you wanted the best? You've got them. Live on DirtVision.com. Presented by Dry D. The World of Outlaws. NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. The World of Outlaws. Morton Buildings Late Models. Knoxville Raceway. And the Knoxville Nationals. And the Dirt Cars Summer Nationals are all available live. Sprint Car and Late Model Fast Passes are available now for just $39 a month, with single event subscriptions available as well. From Volusia to Charlotte, Fairbury to Lernerville, Eldora to Macon, and everywhere in between. Dirt Vision has you covered all season long. Every race, live, anywhere, anytime. Don't be left in the dust. Sign up for Dirt Vision today.
What a night of racing we've had here at Knoxville for the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model iRacing Championship Series. Track is currently open for hot laps before the main event here tonight. Let drivers get out there, get a bit of an idea of how the track is formed up, maybe even make some last and second setup adjustments before we let them loose for 50 laps of racing. And Chase, I think we're going to see a lot of yellow tonight, as racy as this track is. People are going to be licking their chops, sending it into any open gap they see. I think we're going to see some contact and probably some spills here tonight.
Which is interesting because, you know, we were at a bull ring last week where you would think there'd be a lot of contact and crashes. Really, we only had 2 yellows, and it wasn't really for any big accidents. So tonight we've already seen a lot of accidents in the heat race and the semi-main events. So you might be alluding to some interesting stuff there, Randy. We might be seeing some crashes and a couple of cautions here tonight. We hope we don't, obviously, but you might be onto something there. But this racetrack, it's definitely good right now. You see these guys out here, they're running the bottom, they're running the top, seeing where their car works best, seeing where the lap times are good at. So we saw in that last semi-main that the 14 of Kerwan, the 1 car of Austin Carr were both on the bottom of the racetrack, and it seemed like everybody else who won a heat or a semi-main was up on the top. So it's interesting to see how this track changes so far tonight.
And talking about the tracks, we talked about it a bit at Limaland. Of course, there's been a recent update to the way that top side and the cushion really comes in and forms up, Chase. At Limaland, we talked about it, but let's be honest, a high-baked quarter miler, you're always going to see cars up around the outside of the racetrack. I think you can put ice out there and people would still run it instead of running along the bottom. Here, though, I think it's going to be a lot more nuance between the top side and the bottom side, and it's going to be really interesting to see how strong that top is deep into tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And a guy like Alex Bergeron, who starts on the pole this thing, we saw him in the sprint car here earlier this year. He ran the top of the racetrack here at Knoxville and absolutely waxed the whole field. So these guys are probably a little bit worried with that 12 car starting up on the pole here tonight, as we are just about ready for 50 laps.
50 laps of racing, put it on the board, and let's take a peek at the starting grid. 20 of the best will do battle here, as it'll be Alex Bergeron and Evan C. on that front row for the 50-lap main event tonight, with Blake Matulis and Dylan Fox on row number 2. Blake Cannon and Dylan Hauser on row 3, with Adam Elby and Zach Leonardi on row 4. Austin Selman and Hayden Cardwell will round out your top 10. Tyler Schell and Kendall Tucker, they make up row 6, with Kevin Dedman and Virgil Graham on row 7. Drew Hirschko and Randall Carter on row number 8. Jeremy Caprone and Austin Carr on row 9, with Brandon Proudfoot and Casey Kerwin rounding out the 20-car field tonight. Alex Bergeron has to be the favorite, I think, Chase. He's been so good the last couple weeks. I think he was the quickest last week, just didn't have it in qualifying and kind of just was stuck there in second the entire race. We've seen how dominant he can be when he gets clean air, but there's so many quick race cars out here on what is a much racier Knoxville compared to what we saw at Limaland.
Yeah, and the guy I think that has something here tonight for Alex Bergeron is in the 3rd spot. That's the 127 of Blake Majulis, man. Last week started 19th in the main event, and in 50 laps found himself on the bottom step of the podium in the 3rd position. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on the Swindell Speed Lab Esports number 127 of Blake Majulis for tonight's victory.
Field works their way out there, taking their first observation lap. They will get one more trip around the racetrack before competition starts, and let's get ready and get settled in, because this is going to be an exciting 50-lap feature event for this one. We know the bottom has been good all night. We know the top has been good all night, and we know that middle line, it can come into play if guys want to be aggressive. We've seen 3 wide tonight, and we have seen 4 wide tonight, but it's the 12 of Alex Bergeron, another thing we've seen quite a lot of at the head of this field coming into the main event. Can the 33 of Evan C., can he maybe dethrone that 12 car from the top spot? Maybe even Blake Matulos, Dylan Fox, Blake Cannon, your championship points leader. He rolls off in the 5th spot as they work off a turn 4. Green flag going to be waving, and Alex Bergeron will pick up the throttle. We are green here at Knoxville for the featured race.
Bergeron down to the bottom into the first set of the corners, as is the 127 of Blake Majulis, the 33 of Evan C. right through the middle of the racetrack. They work down the back straightaway. Who's the first guy to go to the top of the racetrack? Nobody's gone up there yet in the top 5, but back in the field there's a couple of guys working up there, including the 24, last year's champion, Zach Leonhardi, off the cushion at turn number 4. He's way back in about the 10th spot.
Zach's trying to work his way up here. He's trying to fight for what is 6 and 7. They're nearly 4 wide back there in that fight as they work off of turn number 2 for the second time, as the top 3 have really single-filed themselves out, but Evan C. not letting Bergeron really run away. Now you have the 2 and the 999. They're side by side near the front of the field. They're fighting with the 44 of Blake Cannon, as Zach Leonardi still trying to work his way and pick his way through this field, but he's surrounded by so many others trying to do the same.
Evan C. is really right there back behind the 12 car of Alex Bergeron, not letting him get too far. Only 3 laps in here. C's got to keep this pace up. If we're on a long green flag run here, we cannot let that 12 car get too far ahead, because it'll be just too hard to catch him by the end of the race. And right now, the 33 and the 127 of Blake Majulis are doing a great job keeping pace with the 12 car of Bergeron.
Quick lines, people are running. Your top 5 are all running the bottom groove of the racetrack through 1 and 2. A couple people after that are running the top. The 33, though, of Evan C. He tries the top side and opens the door, and heartbreak for Evan C. He gets the line, and well, there's caution through 1 and 2. I see the 1 of Austin Carr around, the 23 of Jeremy Caprone. I think just way quicker than the 1 car of Austin Carr. He wasn't even trying to really get there or get a gap. I think Austin just maybe a little slower entering the corner than he expected. Just tagged the back of that 1 car, picked the rear tires up off the racetrack, and really not much Austin could do at one point at that point. Relatively light contact, but regardless, that brings us under yellow, and the 33 of Evan C. is not going to be happy about that, Chase. I think if he gets there on the outside, he might be able to take that lead within about 3 laps.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say there, Randy. He might not be happy that he was like right there, but I think with the restart here, it'll be a side-by-side double file restart, I believe, and that 33 car will be on the outside of Bergeron. If he can get a good run and a good start here, he might be able to, forge ahead down into the first corner and maybe chop the nose on the 12 car Bergeron and take the lead here. So C, in these first couple laps, has shown that he's got some good speed here early on.
And the other thing I've liked from this 3-car chase on that initial jump, we saw a handful of times tonight in the LCQs and in the heats, people trying to be aggressive and trying to really time when that pole sitting car, in their race was going to go. And we saw people really kind of trip over themselves because of it. Really, people cause contacts, get into incidents, and that can be a long-lasting thing and could potentially take you out of it. The 33 of Evan C, he was quick on the reaction time, but he wasn't trying to over jump it and give really Alex the potential to kind of play him and open up a huge margin as we get double filed back up and ready to go back racing.
Yeah, that was some good points that you made there. Evan C is definitely one of the best drivers in this series, man. I think tonight, it'd be cool to see, even if Alex Bergeron does win here tonight, that would be 3 winners in 3 races, which is something we did not see with the sprint cars. Bergeron pretty much dominated the first half of the sprint car season, so these late models, it's proving that there's a lot of guys that can win here tonight as Alex Bergeron gets back on the throttle. We're back to bring on lap number 7.
A little bit of a cleaner restart for Alex, but look at Blake Matulos. He's going to take that second spot away here on this opening run in towards turn 1. Alex slides up to the top side. We haven't seen him run up there yet. He's been along the bottom pretty much all evening. This 1-2 center of Blake Matulos, though. He's trying to get to Bergeron as the 44. Blake Cannon trying to work his way past the 33 as well.
Matulos is really good right now as Bergeron missed the bottom right there. The 127 misses the bottom again right there. The 127 closes in right on his back bumper down the backstretch, and the 33 is right behind him as well. Those guys are nose to tail for the top 3 spots, and the 44 Blake Cannon's right there as well as the 2-car of Dylan Hauser.
Keep an eye on that 2-car. He just made an aggressive cut to the inside at turn 3 to get there. So we know that Dylan Hauser, he is not afraid to throw the nose, as he just does on that 44 car of Blake Cannon. They currently fight for the 4th spot. As the 1-2 set of Blake Matulos, he gets the run off of turn 2. Fight is on for the race lead between the 12 and the 127 through corners number 3 and 4. Can Blake keep the momentum up on the inside? Yes, he can. He will nose into the lead across start finish, but Alex is still there on the outside.
And Alex is not worried. You see him get up on that cushion right there. He's going to have a good run off turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. The 12 car, I think he's going to run the top for the rest of the race now. He knows that it's there. The 127 slides to the middle, and Bergeron, again, with a good run off the top of turn 4. And he'll take the lead at the start-finish line. Bergeron, like we saw with the Sprint Car Series, he is really good on the cushion. And he's going to show us the same thing here in the late models here tonight in Knoxville.
We saw Alex wheel it at Lima Land as well in these late models. He ran right up against the wall for all 50 laps and didn't hiccup a single time, whereas that 44 Blake Cannon, you could say there was a couple moments it looked like Alex was stronger. Now, this is a nightmare situation. You have a fast 12 car hooked up on the top side, and he's getting clear of everyone. I see Zach Leonardi. I think that was Drew Hirschko. He just slid in the background is I believe, Dylan Hauser and Blake Cannon. They're still side by side as well.
Oh my, yeah, look at the 44 Blake Cannon. He's up on the top of the racetrack right now. He's not scared to go up next to the wall and run that cushion as well. He gets by the 2 of Dylan Hauser. Now he's going to try and go to work on the 33 of Evan C. It looks like the 44 car is just as good, if not better, than the 12 car of Alex Bergeron right now. The last time by Bergeron with a 19.4 and Cannon with a low 19.5. So Cannon definitely has a fast car. If he can get clear of these guys in front of him, he might have something for that 12 car.
Take a look at the lap times last trip around the racetrack. The only handful of drivers in the 4s, I think, were your top 2. And it was Alex Bergeron and Blake Matulos. There was 0.02 of a second between them. One running the top, one running the bottom. So it is a 2-lane racetrack here tonight. As you see the passes happening between the 44 and the 2, as Dylan Hauser's going to take that 4th spot away. But Blake Cannon wants it back.
Yeah, perfect move right there by Blake Cannon. Slides up right in front of Hauser. Hauser was not able to tap the brake and turn it back down to the inside. The 44 is clear down the back straightaway. Now he's just got to fend off one more charge from the 2 car of Hauser, and he should be clear right here off turn 4 to set his sights on the 33 of Evan C. and the number 127 of Blake Majulis.
Look at Hayden Cardwell, the winner from the season opener of Volusia. He gets up the inside of the 2 car of Dylan Hauser as well. A little bit of contact. Dylan has to get way out of the throttle, and Hayden Cardwell, second time in 2 weeks, we see him get sent down and spin around. He's going to keep it pointed straight, though, and we're going to stay green flag racing, but he will get sent to the mid-pack of the field, the 72 of Hayden Cardwell. He started this race in 10th. It only took him about 15 laps to get up near your top 5. I think we're going to see Hayden Cardwell a little bit later tonight somehow find his way towards the front of this field again.
I'm watching the 127 right now, the 127 of Blake Majulis, Randy. He's running the bottom down in 3 and 4, and he tries the slider line down here in 1 and 2, and it's working for him right now. He closes in big time on Alex Bergeron that last time by. Actually, Bergeron's a little bit faster, but you can see that visually it looks like the 127's getting closer, and he runs the slider line. So Majulis, he is trying some different stuff right now. He knows that the top is a little bit faster right now, and he's not going to win the race just running around the bottom the rest of the time.
4 different teams represented inside of this top 5. You have Team ABR, Alex Bergeron at the head of the field. Swindell Speed Lab Esports, they run 2nd and 4th. 3rd place, you have Team VLR represented by Evan C. and Dylan Hauser from Slick Sim Sport. He runs in 5th. You have another Swindell car running there in 6th. And this is starting to become a common theme in this championship chase. The Swindell Speed Lab cars, they are mighty fast, and they tend to stack up on each other in these main events. Near the head of the field, the 44, he gets into the wall, and he's going to back up, but the Deuce and the 00 behind him.
Yeah, you were talking about Swindell Speed Lab Esports last week there, Randy. They were 4 out of the top 5 drivers in the top 5, so they have definitely got some great drivers in this series, and we might see a little bit more of that here tonight. As Blake Majulis now, he tries the top all the way around right there in 1 and 2, did not run the slider line. He realized that the 12 car is starting to get away from him. He makes a mistake right there, and Evan C. down to the inside can't make the move right there. Now the 33's got a nose on him, but Majulis will have the run off turn 4 and maintain that 2nd spot. Evan C. and Blake Majulis are trying their hardest right now to catch up to the 12 of Bergeron. I think C might be better than that 127 of Majulis right now.
I think you might be right, but look who they have coming up. I think might be better than the 2 of them. Blake Cannon in the 44. He is there with that 33 car of Evan C. as they work through corners number 1 and 2 and come off the towards the front down the back straightaway as they were. Excuse me, that was 3 and 4 down the front straight and in towards 1 and 2. Blake Majulis doing everything he can to hold on to that 2nd spot, but he's going to have a charging Blake Cannon to deal with here. He's out side by side with Evan C. Yeah,
Blake Cannon is the fastest car on the racetrack right now. Last time by ran a 19.531 compared to Bergeron's 19.57. So I think Cannon, the only way he's going to get there, though, is he needs one more caution, and he might have a shot at that 12 car of Alex Bergeron. Right now, the 44 car showing a ton of speed back there in the 3rd spot.
And he just drove right around the outside of the 33 of Evan C. like he was standing still. Didn't really have to deal with him at all. As now the top 2, the 127, excuse me, 2nd and 3rd, 127 and the 44. They're the leading cars out here of this little pack. They run the top side. Actually, 4 of the 5 are on the top side. It's going to be Majulis, Cannon, Hauser, and Tucker all up against the wall. The 33 of Evan C. He still rolls the bottom. This is starting to seem like it's starting to turn into a little bit more of a topside racetrack. The 00. He tries to shoot the middle and go 3 wide. Not quite able to do so.
Consistently faster right now is the 44 Blake Cannon, then your leader Alex Bergeron. That time by Cannon was a full 2/10 faster. He has got that 44 car absolutely moving on the top of the racetrack. He is praying right now, Randy.
Alex.
He's way quicker than Alex, 2/10 quicker. He is praying for a yellow right now.
I think he has time if he can get around that 127 relatively quickly. I think he has time, even if we don't get a caution, to reel in Alex Bergeron. Last trip around the racetrack went the opposite way. Blake Cannon dropped 2/10 to that 12 car of Bergeron. He has to do something with this 127 of Blake Majulis as quickly as possible, but unfortunately, the racetrack is single filed out, and now Blake's into the wall, and that's going to stack him up 4 wide down the front stretch.
Yeah, a huge 4 car battle right now for that 3rd spot. Here's a big slider out of the 2 car of Dylan Hauser. He's now in the transfer spot. We haven't really talked about Hauser that much this season, but right there makes a big move, or excuse me, not the transfer spot, sorry, the 3rd spot. I got a little bit mixed up there, Randy, but a great battle going on for that 3rd spot right now.
Drivers trying to transfer their way to the podium here tonight as they work down.
Yeah, there you go.
You can run another lap here. 21 laps to go this time, 20 to go. At the end of the next lap, we've had 1 caution here this evening. It would have been a really racy Knoxville Speedway here tonight. Alex Bergeron leads by a 2.5 over Blake Majulis in the 2 car, Dylan Hauser. He's gotten to that 127. A little bit of contact off the corner number 4. Means the 127 gets loose, but Dylan not quite able to make a move. Now through 1 and 2, still about a lane lower is Dylan, but can't quite make the move or make it stick.
Yeah, Hauser got into the back of that 127 car that last time by, and he was still a 10th faster than Alex Bergeron. So it looks like the 2 car of Hauser might be the best car on the racetrack, but the laps are winding down. Only 19 to go, and the 2 car of Hauser's running out of time. He is waiting for a caution, just as the 44 car Blake Cannon is.
These guys work their way down the back straightaway. Let's do a check. What does lap traffic look like? I think it's not going to be an issue with inside of 20 laps to go. They're nearly a half a lap away from any lap traffic. Look at this jumble near the head of the field, though. Blake Cannon fighting for that 4 spot with Evan C. Evan up the inside. You also have that 00 car of Kendall Tucker on the outside, a little bit ways behind. He makes contact with the wall, and he's going to drop back a little bit. It's a 127 in the deuce. They still fight for 2nd and 3rd, though, as they run, and they have a little bit of breathing room over that duo behind them. them.
Yeah, those two guys behind him still going side by side for the 4th spot. It's the 44 Blake Cannon on the top of the racetrack, and then the 33 of Evan Seed down low. 5th, or make that the 6th spot, is the 00 of Kendall Tucker. He's fallen a little bit back behind these guys as well. So these guys really searching around. Now Cannon and Seed both go to the bottom in 1 and 2. The racetrack seems like it's really changing up right now as Cannon thinks that the bottom of the racetrack's a little bit better now.
And guys really moving around here, out here on the racetrack, trying different lines, trying different lanes. Blake Cannon slides up, getting into the outside wall. I see one car slow on the wall. Is that the 24? Yes, it was. Zach Leonardi made contact with the wall through 1 and 2. He was slow, but he's going to keep it rolling and keep it moving forward as they work here. As Leonardi fights with the 37 of Randall Carter up the inside of him. 15 laps to go this time.
Alex Bergeron ran the slider line right there in car number 12 up front, because right now he's getting caught by that number 127 of Blake Majulis. Majulis is running pretty good lap times right now, but only 14 laps to go. Now the 127's really got to get going here if he wants a shot at this victory, as Bergeron's pulled out to a full 1.5 second lead.
And I'm surprised more people, and especially that 127 car chase, he's not really gotten comfortable on the outside and really running the cushion the way Alex is able to, and we've seen this in the sprint cars as well. Alex just seems to be able to get up there on the outside and just be way more comfortable running up against the wall than anyone else is able to. He does it about 10 laps earlier oftentimes before anyone even thinks about moving up there. The 127 big slider line in towards 1 and 2. That's going to see him hit the outside wall. That'll drop him a few tenths.
Yeah, I don't know how Alex Bergeron does it, Randy, man. It seems like every car that he gets in, he is so smooth on the cushion. The rest of these guys really sawing on the wheel, trying to keep it the perfect amount of sideways. And Bergeron just goes in there like it's a Sunday drive and makes it look super easy. Doesn't get into the wall, has no problems at all. And he is showing that he's one of the best on iRacing services. He now pulls out another 10th over Blake Majulis.
Able to just about open up that gap as you see the 44 Blake Cannon. He gets to the back of Dylan Hauser, nearly makes a move but wasn't able to as Dylan tagged the wall. They're coming up towards 10 laps to go. It'll be 10 to go next trip around the racetrack for these guys, as Blake Matula is trying to find somehow, some way to make a late race charge on Alex Bergeron. The 44 Blake Cannon, he will slide Dylan Hauser in towards 3 and 4. He'll get clear for a moment, but then he'll hit the wall, and Dylan Hauser will say, thank you very much. I'll take that bit of breathing room with the podium position. And Blake Cannon, he falls back to this big battle now of Evan Z, Kendall Tucker, and the 999 of Dylan Fox.
Yeah, now Hauser tags the wall, and now Cannon's right back behind him again. That's the battle for the final spot on the podium right now, and that final spot pays a good $100 right now. So those guys are trying to pick up a little extra payday here. The 2-car Hauser's got up the 44 and the 33 are all over him, as well as the 00 and the 999 of Dylan Fox. So those guys are really wanting to grab an extra Benjamin here and throw it in their back pocket by the end of this thing.
Inside of the final 10 laps here, the 2 of Dylan Hauser, he currently holds onto that extra Benjamin Franklin, but the 33 of Evan C. wants it, and we've seen him make hard contact late in races as well. We saw him racing hard at Volusia. 3 wide, nearly 4 wide in this little group now. The 999 of Dylan Fox tries to get up the inside of the 00, is able to do so while they fight with the 44 Blake Cannon as well. There's a 33 and the 2 still a little bit clear, but Blake Cannon making his presence known.
Yeah, now they're 3 wide down the backstretch for the 5th spot. Cannon on the top, Tucker in the middle, and the 999 of Dylan. Oh, look at the move by the 44 Cannon. I thought he was going to try and slide in front of Hauser right there for the 3rd spot. Almost got into the side of him. Now Evan C. takes over 3rd.
3rd spot currently held by that 33 car. The 4 though, and Blake Cannon going to make contact with the 2 car of Dylan Hauser. This is going to be a late race caution. Big jump of cars off of turn 4, waiting for the yellow to come out, and it will wave. So we're going to get a late race restart here.
Wow.
The 12 of Alex Bergeron is not going to be happy to see that. He was 2 seconds clear of the entire field. And we're going to get, I believe it'll be about a 2-lap restart chase for these guys. Disaster for the 12 of Alex Bergeron, as now he has to hold off that charging 127 Matulis.
Yeah, Blake Majulis right there was that last time by. I wasn't really paying attention to his lap times, everything before that, but that last time by was a 10th better than Bergeron. So we can only guess that maybe he was better those last 5 or so laps that we were watching that battle for 3rd. So Majulis might have something here in these final 2 laps, and he's probably pumped right now. But I'm guessing right now, actually, I don't know. Bergeron, would he be nervous right now, Randy? He's been doing this for so long, and he's won so many races that right now this probably won't even faze him.
I think you have to be, especially in these cars, Chase, where guys are so willing to kind of throw a fender. You know, you can be a lot more aggressive in the late models than you can in the sprint cars. Not that guys show any lack of aggression in the sprint cars, but you can make some light contact here. So if that 127 of Blake Matulis, you know, I think any slight open door that Alex opens up, be it on the top of the racetrack, be it on the bottom of the racetrack, wherever it may be, Blake's going to put that car anywhere he thinks he can that Alex leaves open.
Yeah, and we know that Blake Majulis is very, very aggressive. I talked about it earlier in the broadcast. Last week went 19th up to 3rd at Limeland on a small bull ring, and you can't do that without being a little bit aggressive. So we know that Blake's aggressive. We know that he's going to be trying to put a move here on Alex Bergeron for the $300 win, and more importantly, move up in the point standings. He came into tonight 4th in the standings. Bergeron came in 2nd. So, and remember, it's $10,000 to win this championship. So that's what they got their eyes on. The eyes are on the prize here in this World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model Championship.
Of course, that's really, it is the big prize, isn't it? $10,000. You get to go to the victory banquet or the championship banquet that the World of Outlaws hold at the end of the year. And you as well, the winner of this championship, will get to wheel a Clint Borer late model at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But first, we have 2 laps to go here at Knoxville, and they are lined up for the restart. Lights are out, and we are going green. The 12 of Alex Bergeron will lead them. The 127 of Blake Majulis from the outside. We saw him come from the LCQ to a top 3 last week. He now runs 2nd on a late race restart. He gets to the bottom of the 12, in towards 1 and 2. Blake Majulis going to try to slide the 12 of Bergeron early. He's going to take the race lead and get clear. But can Alex fight back? Contact down the back straightaway for the penultimate time, in towards 3 and 4. Look at the 33 of Evan C. He's there as well, as Alex will take that race lead. White flag this time off of turn 4. Alex is able to get clear. It's going to be the 127 and the 33. They fight side by side for 2nd. As off of turn 2, Alex is clear.
Yeah, down the back straightaway. If the 12 goes to the top, the 127 will go to the bottom, but he's not. The 12 will block the bottom, and in the final corner, they make contact for 2nd. Bergeron will come off the corner and get the victory. 2nd spot will go to Evan C. 3rd will go to Blake Majulis after a fantastic bid at the lead there in the final couple of laps there. I thought Majulis was going to steal that one away from Alex Bergeron there, Randy.
Just wasn't able to hold the bottom, was he? After he made that slider on the restart, he was able to get the lead, was able to get clear. He just wasn't able to chop the nose off of Alex Bergeron, and because of that, we see Alex in this season. He wins 2 races in the World of Outlaws, 2 races in both of the World Championships that the World of Outlaws present here on the iRacing service. He won, of course, the entire championship in the Knox Energy Drink iRacing Sprint Car Series, and he wins here tonight at Knoxville in the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model Championship Series.
Yeah, Alex Bergeron is something that these guys need to be worried about the rest of the season, man. And with that run right there, Blake Cannon came in, I think, with a 19-point advantage, and he might come out with the points lead still, but Bergeron's going to be right there with him, man. And with Kendall Tucker, Blake Majulis also up there near the top 5, we're shaping up to have a good 5-car battle for this championship, Randy. Evan C. came in tonight 5th in the points, and he ran 2nd right there. So we are really shaping up for a great battle in the championship.
So we'll take a peek at your post-race results, and it was at number 12, Team ABR car, finishing on the top step tonight with Evan C. from Team VLR. He finished 2nd in this one. Blake Majulis, he will round out your top 3, with Kevin Dedman in 4th, and Kendall Tucker rounding out your top 5. Both Dedman and Tucker come from deep in your starting field, 13th and 12th, to finish 4th and 5th. Blake Cannon, he will finish tonight in the 6th spot, with Zach Leonardi in 7th. Good recovery for him after not making the main last week. Drew Hirschko from 15th up to 8th. Dylan Hauser from 6th back to 9th, with Hayden Cardwell rounding out your top 10. Adam Elby in the 11th spot. Virgil Graham in 12th. Austin Carr 13th. Randall Carter in 14th. Casey Kerwin 15th. With Tyler Schell, Jeremy Capron, Austin Semmelman, Brandon Proudfoot, and Dylan Fox rounding out this 20-car field here tonight. So as we get people joined up, we are going to go down for your post-race coverage, and first person we have to have the chat with is your race winner tonight, the driver of that number 12 Team ABR car. It's going to be Alex Bergeron, who takes victory here tonight at Knoxville. And Alex, what a run here from you tonight in this late model championship series. And it's been a great story to watch as well. The opening round at Volusia, car didn't really have the pace in it. You definitely looked good, but you didn't look like you potentially had that race-winning pace. Then you come out at Limeland, and a lot of people, I think, after watching that race would come away comfortably saying you were the quickest car that night, but you just didn't really get the opportunity to steal that victory away. And tonight you come out and you dominate the whole thing. Talk me through your first 3 rounds and having that sort of highlight with the win here tonight in the 3rd one.
It's definitely awesome. First race, we just we lacked a little bit of pace there, and we still made it to 7th place in the first round, so that's a good championship starting point. And after that, we just took it easy at Limeland, and we just come out and just win the 3rd round. So tonight went pretty awesome. We just qualified fast time, and we had a lot of pressure behind though. From Blake, all Evan Shea, all these guys. They're tough competition, but we just stayed up front. We kept it on rails, and we just on the last 2 laps there with a caution there at the end with the 5 laps to go, we just Blake Magulus just went by us, and then we just went by under him, and we steal it away.
Yeah, what was going through your mind there once that caution came out? Were you pretty upset, or were you pretty confident that you were going to be able to hold off Blake Magulus there? Because once I saw that caution come out, man, he was, every now and again he would run a faster lap than you, and you would be a faster lap than him. I knew he had a car that could probably keep up with it if you guys had a caution. Were you a little bit worried when the yellow did come out?
A little bit, that's normal for a race car driver. But I just. Like I said, I took it easy. I knew I had a fast car, and the last couple of laps there, last 15 laps, I tried lines. I knew Blake was running different lines, and I tried those lines, and it worked for me for the top. So I stayed up top, and the last 2 laps, I just tried different lines, and it just messed around with him, and we just got the win.
And our next time we go out and we go running, Alex, we're going to be at the Eldora Speedway. So we go from a quick high-banked half-mile racetrack to a quicker, more higher-banked half-mile racetrack. Do you think we're going to see similar racing, or what do you think Eldora is going to really shape up like?
Oh, it's going to be a good race for sure. I'm sure it's going to be top dominant or middle line, but Eldora always being a good place for a good race, and especially for late miles. So I'm sure it's going to be a good show.
Well, Alex, it's become a very, very familiar face to see in the interviews, and especially on the top step. You get your first win here in the late models here in 2019. And before we let you go, you got to name off all the sponsors on the side of that number 12 of Team ABR car. Go.
Thanks. Got to thank Team ABR and the whole team, Jason Nygaard and my girlfriend. I can't thank them enough. It's been a good week. We worked hard on this car, and it paid off in the end. So. Very proud of it. We're gonna come back next week though. But I gotta thank all my partners, newbie.com, the Science Track Keenies, BK Designs, CSI Chalks, Max McLaughlin Racing, Meyer Inc., World of Outlaws and iRacing for putting this series up, and you guys for broadcasting. And shout out to everybody watching, my dad and all the fans out there. Thank you.
Well, there he was, your race winner tonight of Alex Bergeron, comes away with a big win, pretty much dominates the entire 47 laps, and then that late race restart, things got really interesting. And it wasn't this driver who made things interesting, but the driver who did open up a door, and Evan C., he stepped through it and took that second spot away. Evan, what's the mindset for someone like you going into that late race restart, not in really the greatest position in the world, starting just on the inside of that second row? That 127 is going to be slamming the door shut on you a lot of the time, and Alex is going to be defending that inside a lot as well. What's your mindset coming to a restart, looking for any open door you can find?
Yeah, I was actually glad I was starting on the bottom. Yes, that's what where I wanted to be from the beginning, and I was glad I got to start on the bottom. And I was just hoping maybe they would mess up and hit the wall or get into each other, and I could steal the win. But I'll take a second any day.
Yeah, and now the points have updated, and it looks like the top 4, which you're in third right now, the top 4 guys right now are only separated by 19 points. A little bit different than the Sprint Car Series. At this time, I feel like there was really 2 guys that separated themselves in the championship. Just tell us, how tough the field is here in this late model series, because there's a lot of guys that look like they can win each night.
Yeah, I think the late model series has some of the best competition on iRacing and any pro series. You can never choose someone to win a race. There's so many different guys that could win in this series that it's going to be competitive every night in this series.
And we have an interesting string of tracks coming up. Eldora, of course, a big, fast, half-mile, high-banked oval. I would say probably the most famous dirt track in all of America. Probably the most similar to Eldora is going to be Knoxville that we have tonight. Then we immediately jump to another quarter miler at Kokomo, then we go back to Volusia. Then we head to Kokomo for the second quarter miler of the season. How to get yourself prepped for what is really an intense string of tracks here from Knoxville all the way to, really from Limaland all the way down to the second time we run Knoxville in August.
Yeah, you just you really got to spend a whole lot of time testing and making sure that you have the right setup for the race and qualifying also. And, for each track, because, the tracks were so different from here on out, like you said, that it does take a lot of time to test and make sure that you're on top of your game on Monday.
Well, he didn't get it on the top step, and he's not standing in it right now, but he drives for Team Victory Lane Racing. And Evan, who gets it done for everyone behind the scenes of the number 33?
Yeah, I just thank Team Viralar and Full Throttle Performance, Dirty Grass Soul, Kevin Dedman, Capper on Screen Printing, CI Performance, and Super Moon Graphics for the core design. And that's about all.
Well, there he was. He finishes in the second spot tonight, the driver, the 33 of Evan C. And Blake Matulos, he finishes third, and he finished third last week as well, but I don't think this one is going to feel quite as nice as last week's did, considering the way he had to run his way through the field in that one. Started third and finished third here tonight. Blake, you put on one heck of a show, and you were fun to watch regardless.
Yes, sir. It sucked it had to end that way there at the end with that last caution. Threw a great slider. Thought I was going to make a move there for the lead, and got on Evans right front there, and I about looped it there on the last lap. So it just sucks it had to end that way. But, yeah, very strong run.
Yeah, you kind of remind me, man. The Sprint Car Series, we had one guy that really stood out among the rest of them. That was David Heilemann, that would really make some crazy moves and go for the win. And I think that, we found our David Heilemann here in this series, and that's you. You put some great moves on there, and I knew once that caution came out that you had a car that can contend with Alex, and I knew that you were going to make a move. What was your plan of attack there? Did you know you had to make the slider happen there?
Well, first of all, I knew I had to get a good start, so half the deal there is just timing it right, and fortunate enough, I got a good start going in one, and seeing him run the top was amazing because I didn't think he was going to do that. I figured he'd block the slider, but when I got the slider there in two, it just wasn't enough to hold him even in three, so that's what killed it there.
Yeah, you guys at Swindell Speed Labs Esports, you guys have been doing very well to get a lot of these cars up near the head of the field and the late goings of the races. You finished third. Kendall Tucker we'll talk to in a bit. He finished fifth. Blake Cannon finished sixth. We had a lot of you guys up for interviews last week as well. What are you guys really hitting on in the late models is making you so consistent?
Oh, well, we've been testing some different things here during the week, and it's just finding how comfortable you are with your setup is pretty much how it is. It's not really just how fast you can go. You gotta go into the race knowing you're comfortable, and fortunate enough, again, I just enter every week and I'm comfortable. That's the main thing. You just gotta be comfortable.
Well, after such a successful run for you, Blake, congratulations on that 127 for at least getting yourself on the podium and another $100 that'll eventually go into your wallet. Before we let you go, though, who gets it done for that 127 car?
Oh, yeah, just got to thank Swindell Speed Lab, Kevin, for the opportunity, and all the sprint guys for bringing us on board here. We've really built a good team here. We're all running good, full force here right now. So iRacing, iFlag, Jeff Brown for all he does for me, Bell Helmets, Wiser Organics, Design 75, Jeremy Ray. You guys for broadcasting, iRacing, World of Outlaws, Blake Neer for spotting me there. That's helpful. Got to thank him and everyone that watches, my dad, Tia, just everyone that helps out and watches me. I appreciate it very much.
There he was, your third place finisher tonight, Blake Matulos, will now step in with the fourth place runner tonight, the 308 of Kevin Dedman. And Kevin, really the first one to drive through the field. How was it getting through this Knoxville racetrack? It seemed really, really racy, and you starting in the mid-pack in 13th, able to wheel your way up to fourth. How intense was it trying to dive your way through the mid-pack? It looked fun.
Oh, yeah, man, it was a great track. Me and Evan had worked. I got to give a big thanks to him, man. We did a lot of testing last night and really getting a setup dialed in that would rotate the bottom. And, I caught a few breaks there. Like I was kind of caught behind Fox and Hayden there for a little while, and then they had contact and I got by them. And then, was fortunate to miss out when there was some trouble in front of me. But I felt like in my heat race, Shad kind of threw a slider in there last minute, or I would have started and knocked me out, and I finished fourth in my heat, or I would have started a lot better, and I feel like maybe could have contended for the win, but I'm happy to come home fourth.
Yeah, man, you've kind of been in the shadows, I feel like, these first 3 weeks, but really, you're up in the 7th spot in the points and got a pretty good shot at a solid point finish in this deal. What's the key to success here every week and being up towards the front? Really, you haven't been on the podium, obviously, but you've been right there around the top 5 and keeping yourself up there in the championship hunt.
Yeah, that's kind of been my strategy for the whole thing is to, I guess sort of Matt Kenseth your way to a championship, you know what I mean? And just consistency. And, that's been my motto, and what I'm going to try and do the whole time is just take what the race gives me. Don't do anything stupid and try and drive over my head or get a better finish than maybe what the car's capable of. And hopefully, if I can keep doing this, I'll creep on up into the top 5 and maybe get on up there in the points.
Well, you're doing a good job of it at the moment, Kevin, as you currently sit 7th place in the points coming out of this run here at Knoxville. So things going well, all in all, thus far. Before we let you go, Kevin, who gets it done for that 308 Team VLR machine?
Yeah, I want to say a special thank you, obviously, Team VLR and Daniel Powell and the guys at Full Throttle Performance. And thanks to Evan, man. Me and him stayed up late last night, like several hours, turning laps until my eyes were crossing. Practicing and working on the setup. So thank him and C High Performance and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Slide Job Ranch. I was hoping we'd have had a victory party for him yesterday at Daytona, but that didn't work out.
That didn't quite work out, unfortunately, after the run at Daytona. So that's Kevin Dedman, who comes home 4th place here tonight. We're stood by now the 00 of Kendall Tucker. Saw him start 12th in this one, ended up finishing in 5th. And I'm going to ask the same question I just asked Kevin. Kendall, you started deep in this field. This was a difficult and racy racetrack. People able to run the top, people able to run the bottom. How busy was it trying to pick your spots to work your way up towards this top 5?
Man, I'm telling you, it wasn't easy right there. Track was it was really wide. I mean, you could run the middle, the bottom, the top for the most of the race. I just really wanted to make my setup maneuverable enough to where I could to run any line. I could run the tacky up top, and I could roll the middle right there through 3 and 4. That's where I felt most comfortable at. I hate I wasn't able to run the bottom like I really wanted to. I was just a little too free right down there. But and to come from way back as far as we did, I think we qualified like 17th or 18th tonight after qualifying 2nd and 4th the first 2 weeks. I knew after qualifying I was going to have my hands full and I was going to have to get up on the wheel to salvage a good night.
Well, Eldora next week, what's your confidence level like going into a place like that where it seems like really it gets up on the wall and you really have to make some aggressive moves to make passes there?
Yeah, the key to Eldora, you just got to find that balance. It's probably gonna be right up around the wall. So I mean, I've had a lot of laps up there. So just hope me and the guys at Swindell Speed Lab we can get a car dialed in this week to be maneuverable enough to throw some sliders if we have to. But hopefully we can get this thing started up front, and it'd be nice to stay there for once.
Well, Kendall, before we let you go, that 00 Swindell Speed Lab esports car, it's been quick all season, and all the Swindell cars have been quick. Who's getting it done for you guys on the race cars every week?
Yeah, I just got to thank all the guys at Swindell Speed Lab. I mean, it takes a lot of work to get these cars up front right here. It's just a lot of laps running, so I just can't thank them enough. I got to thank Kevin for giving me the opportunity to represent his brand right here in the Pro Series. So everybody, if you're watching, go check out SwindellSpeedLab.com. Go purchase some apparel, and gotta thank CBD Wiser Organics, Bell Helmets, Jeff Brown with iRacing Flag, everything he does for me. Supermoon Graphics, Jim Emery, he does a great job making this thing look good. So I just hope I can get it up front more often, and gotta thank all the guys at World of Outlaws and iRacing for making this deal possible. And thanks to you and Rod for announcing. I know it can be hard to watch sometimes, but we try and put on the best show we can for you guys.
Well, myself and the Rod, we definitely enjoy it, and we really love putting this one on.
The
so
Rod?
Thanks, Kendall. No comment. So thanks for joining us, Kendall, and good luck to you out at Eldora.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It's been a night of nicknames for sure, and Chase may have just picked one up courtesy of me here at the end of the race here at Knoxville Raceway as Alex Bergeron takes victory. $300 more goes into his pocket as if he needs more money coming from sim racing from what he's won this year. And that's really, I think, the talking point, Chase. We've never had someone on the iRacing service through 10 years of world championships, from the old iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, from the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series, the Rallycross Series we had last year. We've never had someone win 2 world championships in a row, win 2 world championships in the same season or in different disciplines. And at the moment, Alex Bergeron is somewhat setting himself up to potentially be the first. He leads the points after this race here at Knoxville. And, I think to do that, even though it's still dirt oval racing, to do that in both the late models and the sprint cars, that would be a more than impressive feat that I think would rival the likes of what Martin Kroenke, Gregor Hutu, and everyone else has been able to do throughout the history here. And Ray Alfalo, of course, as well on the iRacing service and all the world championships we've had over the years.
Yeah, Alex Bergeron, like we mentioned, he comes out with a 3-point advantage in the championship standings now, and man, $20,000 from a matter of 20 weeks of racing on a video game would be just absolutely incredible stuff to see happen. And, you know, we've got another championship series on this dirt stuff coming later on this year that I know Alex is trying to qualify for that series as well. So you never know. He could leave 2019 $30,000 alone in championship winnings, you know, by playing a video game. So it's pretty crazy to see what he's done so far this year, and, you know, it's only going to get, you know, better and better for him. And the rest of these guys have got to start figuring something else out because he's just way too good right now.
And actually not even just the money chase. Just imagine that presentation day when they have the if Alex were be able to live the dream and win both of these, he would get essentially double honors at the World of Outlaws banquet at the end of the year. And that's a lot of track time spent between a wing sprint car being coached by Christopher Bell and a super late model getting coached by Clint Boyer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Bergeron, he's ran some stuff in real life. You know, he's ran a couple of Wing 305 races. He's ran some stuff with Coleman Gulick, like he's mentioned, on multiple occasions. So he's got some seat time in real life. He obviously wants to get more, and winning all this money, man. By the time this year's over, he might be able to buy himself a full roller and go sprint car racing. If he can win this 20 grand or this 10 grand here and another 10 grand later, man, he might be able to buy his own sprint car operation.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun to watch if maybe he could somehow piece that together and get himself racing. But that is going to do it for us here tonight for your World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model iRacing World Championship Series. Alex Bergeron takes victory, his first of this season for the late models, but of course winning the Sprint Car Championship. He dominated basically that entire thing. We have to thank all the sponsors that make this possible. Of course, our huge thanks to the World of Outlaws and Morton Buildings who make all of this possible, and as well to our partnership with Dirt Vision and all the support that they show us as well. It was myself, Randy Chineth, Chase Rodman, and Hugo Louis bringing you the broadcast for this race here tonight. And if you want to catch more of us, well, you have another World Championship event coming at you tomorrow. You can catch myself, Evan Pasoko, Tim Terry, and Hugo Louis for the 11th round of the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series from the Kentucky Speedway. And this weekend, the 7th round of the Porsche Esports Super Cup goes to the all-new Silverstone GP track, the all-new track that just came out recently. Be sure to check that out over the weekend, and be sure to check out the Peak race tomorrow night. But until then, we will see all of you next time. Bye-bye.